Welcome back to the podcast. Today we are with Andy Kettle. Andy, thank you for joining us today.
No problem at all. It's my pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Andy is the managing director of Steam Kettle PR. And if you wouldn't mind just starting off, introducing yourself, what it is you do over there.
Yeah, so my name's Andy Kettle. Surname Kettle, head Steaming Kettle PR. I run a music PR and management company. Main goals are to get an artist to release or live show or tour into as much press, radio coverage as possible, basically get them promoted in like the organic sense. Do some social marketing, but mostly it's like blogs, press, podcasts, radio, airplay, features, interviews, streaming, playlist curation, all that kind of stuff. So it's basically just to get them out anywhere that we can. Yeah, when they want to put the music out.
Yeah, so you'd say your forte is obviously in the PR, so called PR and a holistic network and bringing your talent towards the right people, putting the right sort of in the right place at the right time to promote what they have upcoming. With the industry, where have you seen the industry gone as of late with everything sculpting?
Yeah, I mean, like I think for me the bigger change was like during COVID. So that was the biggest change that I've seen since I've started doing it, obviously, because the live scene ended overnight. And before then, I mean, but even before then, people were making more of revenue on their music release and stuff like that. But then obviously the live side came in and that kind of became an artist's main revenue. So I know a lot of independent artists who were touring artists who were making quite a lot of money or making a living anyway, who basically overnight everything just stopped. I had people who'd invested thousands of pounds into boxes of merch to sell at their shows, and it was all just a nightmare. So that was like crazy. That for me was the biggest turning point in the last few years, just the way that it all just shifted. And now things have been recovered again and things have kind of come back. But kind of people I work with who are more medium sized who make a living out of their music and out of touring, but it really hit them really hard. So that was for me pretty interesting. What something I found interesting as well, actually, in a more positive way, was that how radio before COVID, people were saying, "Oh, radio is not becoming as relevant now," but lockdown seemed to really reel it back, and it's actually become, I think, stronger than it was years before that, which I found very interesting as well.
Yeah, that's an insight I didn't particularly know. So you're sort of saying that the trends are is going back to what it was once. So it's just the classical PR and there's no, you had the big change and everything's back to where it is and what you know best, essentially.
Yeah, well, that's it. And I mean, 'cause people were at home, so they were, listening to more radio. And then now, since then, more people are working at home, and so they probably got the radio on at home more, or they listen to more stuff like that than they would if they, in the old way of being in your office 5 days a week.
So if you have that side of the business now down, where it's like your forte, your network, and put in front of people, who would be your ideal client that you generally work with? What's like the ideal customer profile that would fill your need?
Yeah, I mean, people I get on with, people that are easy. I mean, some of the projects that I've recently have been a dream because they're organized. Not all artists are organized, I must say, as you can probably imagine. So it's like, um, yeah, but then again, if you're working directly with a label as well, it's a big help as well. But obviously, if it's like more direct with them, a lot of people I know now have started their own brands, but this because they're organized. But really, just people you're getting on with, the communication is there. Some stuff done recently has been amazing. It's just been so easy, and you send the invoice and that gets settled within like a couple of days. You just you smash out the work, you get loads of results in. Like I also with me musically, like I'm going to work on something if I feel I want to do a good job on it. If I feel it will pull in the results that I want it to. Sometimes I get said stuff and I'm not touching it. So for me personally,
Yeah. It's
it's
got to
not
be
always good.
a passionate side of it because it's the equation you seem to have there is obviously you know how to put people in front of right people, but you need to work with the right person. So it's like you can sell it onto them, put it onto your network, like happily, essentially. It sounds like you
Yeah,
got
and
both.
then working with people, it's that feeling of working with people and you're working together to both achieve the same result at the end. That's what's cool about it.
Any particular challenges that you faced as of recently over the sort of year or so?
I I wouldn't say it's been any more challenging than it was, again, going back to the lockdown time because, my business halved overnight then, and it's, or more, so that was pretty tough. So I kind of was sometimes questioning where things were gonna go, what I was gonna do, but, just kept building, building and building, and I think that, yeah, from a business perspective, I think it's just that was my biggest challenge. So I don't think I'm still quite recovered from where I was before then still, but it's like definitely, got a lot better. It's just kind of it's the unpredictability of being self-employed, of course, as well. But yeah, I mean, from a business perspective, there's that. But I mean, you can talk about the musical side. Obviously, there's a lot of other things that are coming in from that. But I'm sure you'll ask about that in a minute. But yeah,
It sounds like a a still a big emotional wound and scar there from COVID that's still got a bit of a hold on you.
yeah, no, yeah, it definitely hit because I think it hit the middle people the worst anyway, didn't it? Like, so yeah, it was tough. I mean, I'm just lucky for me that I'm still self-employed, so I got the grants from the government. But I've got one friend of mine from uni. He runs a graphic design company, and he went limited not long before COVID. So basically, he got no support over that time, and he had to fold his business.
If I was to sort of dig deeper into um, issues and problems in the industry that you would like to overcome, click a magic finger, time, money, resources were not an issue, and you can't say COVID. What problem would ideally you'd love to solve? The impossible problem that needs to be solved.
For artists to get more revenue for streaming, I think that would be. I think for them to get the revenue that they deserve for the amount of exposure and the amount of results or whatever that they get in. I think I use Spotify. I love it as a platform because it's like the Netflix of listening to music. Netflix is the best streaming TV platform. Just the usability of it. Spotify is the easiest for me. Like I use it for work. It's just so easy. But the royalties that artists get is peanuts. So I think that's something I'd love to see. That's the one thing for sure to change.
Would that
Yeah.
have a detrimental impact on your business if artists made more money in streaming, or is that all sort of tied into your business model and how you do things?
Well, I mean, I suppose from that perspective, it just means that they'd probably be earning more money, so they more people might be able to afford to work with me. And that the problem any artist has is some of them have is the lack of funds. So that's definitely what I would say for that for sure. Yeah, you go back to the 1990s when people. I mean, we were both a lot younger, but those glory years where all these artists and bands, they would just make a shed load of money from their record sales. It was like people say it was like they were living in some sort of dream world. It's like when mortgages were 1%, was it a couple of years ago, whatever it was, and people said like that's going to happen again. Like back in the 90s, they were making more money out of record sales than they were from shows and live touring. It's basically back then they were touring to promote their record, but now they put out a record so that they can tour to make the money.
Yeah, it's an interesting cycle, and I suppose it goes back to like your original point of who's your ideal person you love to work with is you've got to have that connection. You've got to be invested in them because not all artists have money, and the whole purpose is you're trying to build them up, and it's a sort of a cycle that you're in together, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. The other day, trying to help them as well. It's like I get the biggest buzz and dopamine hit out of knowing that I've got the results and I've got really good things for them and helping them than anything else.
Do you ever with artists becoming influencers and being more active online and streaming and more promotion and a lot of it is just being a personality sometimes and being online. Do you ever do you feel like yourself in the industry do well at protecting artists from this new exposure that they're involved in, the vulnerability side of things?
Yeah, I mean, so quite a lot of people that I work with aren't good at that stuff. So it's like they're more. I don't know. It's just the kind of music and it's the kind of scene where they'll do that stuff, but they don't really like doing it. So it's like, yeah, I haven't had to deal with that, but that's an interesting perspective. I mean, suppose the only thing I can compare it to is I'm good mates with Ed Sheeran's cousin called Jethro Sheeran. He's a rapper, we believe it. But I did some work with him a few years ago as well, and there was some, I don't know, some article that came out. I think it was about one of the members of Steps or something, whatever it was. But basically, this thing came out about him, and then all the tabloids were all calling me up, like the Sun and the Mirror and all those amazing people. So I was basically protecting him from all of that, and just, so that I suppose, yeah, that was an experience I had with that, which is kind of crazy, but
How
yeah.
long ago was that, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, that was pre-COVID, so maybe like 2016, 2017. I mean,
Yeah.
we spoke for the week, but he's a good lad. But yeah, he, interesting.
Yeah. Well, I feel like maybe the landscape's changed a little bit, whereas because that sounds like you got a hold on it because you will be able to. You're
Mm.
the one voicing like the rebuttals, and you sort of like could control the narrative in a sense. But it's sort of developed a little bit where we're in 2025 going into 2026, where anyone can say whatever to artists ongoing all the time. Uh, yeah, I just this is an interesting way that you've got a hold of it and how the landscape's changing, sort of thing.
I think obviously also with the fake news stuff and AI stuff now that people can. I mean, that's a whole conversation I haven't really got the answer to as far as social media is concerned. But thank God that Spotify and Apple and people like that are cracking down on AI now with music. So I've had to jump through a gazillion hoops recently to get music that I'm releasing licensed, even though I'd already released it. So basically, you're having to do documentation and having to get all this evidence now and all this stuff so that you can do it. But that hopefully will protect people who are actually genuinely releasing music themselves, because it's just crazy at the moment with all that stuff. So it's been like the Wild West with that. I understand. So you've got you've got a content creator who does like low budget videos
Mm.
and they put them on YouTube, then I totally get why they'd use like an AI platform to create background music for this, that, and the other. So I get that. But actual official music releases, pitching to BBC, whatever it might be, yeah, there's definitely things being put in place now which are ensuring that nothing goes through that hasn't been genuinely created.
Yeah, it's an interesting point on AI. It's the dreaded two-letter word that everyone speaks about. So, is your exposure in the industry in the sense of protecting artists? Is there any other AI that sort of you've been involved with, or is that the main bulk?
Yeah, no, it's really been, I mean, from my work, really, because I'm just organically contacting people and they're all like media, they're press, the radio, they're people who have their own platforms or networks and stuff. So from that perspective, it hasn't affected things in that way, you know. But from the musical side, definitely, and people release their music, definitely. And if people want to release their music now, they need to give themselves weeks and weeks and weeks before. I mean, I'd say a couple of months to make sure that everything's been cleared. Because all the distribution companies now that you release through, and they're the people who get your music onto all the platforms. There's all these checks they do, which they then have to submit to Spotify and Apple and etc. So the whole process has got a lot longer now and like a lot more complicated. So all I'd say to anyone is give yourself as much time as possible.
That's an interesting insight. Everyone always speaks about AI and like to ask everyone what their input is, and everyone always has a completely different. Like I would never have thought of the of that sort of AI side of things in terms of like my work and whatnot. So it sounds like a good thing, but as many things of compliance and like regulations, it's just adding like a bigger timeline on it. But it's one of the things that sort of is good, I guess.
Yeah. Oh no, definitely, definitely. It's like, if you went to an outdoor event, say to Sefton Park in Liverpool, and there's like 10,000 people. I went to Radio One Thing, for example, in May, and we had 3 security checks on the way in, 3. And so by the time I got in there, I felt really safe. But I'd rather someone did that than didn't do it. So it's the same really thing as here. If people are releasing their music, willy nilly, like you'd want it to be, make sure everything's been checked. So if you were listening to a release by someone, oh, I like this artist, and you found out they've just typed into AI, please create a beat that sounds like, Kanye West, and then you found out they'd done that, I mean, I just, yeah. So I get it. I get it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Loses the zest out and the spice out. But so you
Yeah.
obviously part of your business is events and PR and pushing things for people. Do you have anything big upcoming at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few things recently. The problem I have is occasionally things are a secret, so I'm not allowed to. I
Yeah.
I can tell you in person, but no, there's one or two things coming up that always depends on the project, you know. But there was like, yeah, I've recently done a Capadona from Wu-Tang Clan. That's been quite cool. And then I've had Rakim, who's quite a legendary artist in the hip hop scene as well. His project. I did a Snoop Dogg single as well that was quite fun. So there's been like stuff like that flying around. But yeah, there's all this time of year as well now, November. So there's other people putting out music. But then December's always a dead month, which is quite nice for me. So I haven't got a lot to do. I just update my website and stuff like that. And then people will be releasing music from now and then end of November. People don't release music in December unless it's a Christmas song. And then they
Yeah.
wait till the middle of January again.
Well, it's been really good to have you on today, Andy. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day. If anyone wants to touch base with you, find out a bit more, where can they find you?
The best place is probably steamingkettlepr.com, and any social media is under Steaming Kettle, apart from X, which is Steamin Kettle, because the G had already been taken. And it's a dead account, and it's never been used by whoever that person was. But yeah, you can find me on all those amazing places. I mean, yeah. So I'm trying to think. I'm not on TikTok. I am for my own music, but we won't go down that road. It's fine.
Brilliant. Thank you, Andy. Appreciate your time.
No worries. Thank you. Cheers.